Okay, here we are. It's the last morning of the Barb and Gabby Campout from Greenwater, June 2017. It's been an absolutely amazing week.
Yes.
We've had the best group of people here. Unfortunately, it's been a pretty damp campout, and that's all right. We got through it. We had a great time, and we're going to go ahead and get underway sharing our most recent experiences. So, Courtney.
Yeah, we had a lot of activity last night. I'll let the newbies talk about the night walk, but when me and Barb, Sam, Richard, and Kevin were sitting around the fire, I was hearing a few different things, especially right by Sandy's tent. I kept hearing the movement, and the trees were just rustling. And I asked Barb the first time, "Did you hear that?" She said, No, I didn't." And about 5 minutes later, she said, "Did you hear that?" And I said, "I did." It was still coming from over there. And then Sandy popped out, and we asked her, was there movement by your tent? And she said, "Yeah, the trees were hitting my tent and wrestling going on."
Wow.
That was one of the many.
Yeah.
Oh, and the shadow.
Yeah.
We were sitting here, and I saw a shadow just run in between the trailers.
Just right over here.
I think that's it.
That's it. Okay. Linda?
Hello. The boot returned to the tent.
Okay.
There's some debate because when I swear I stripped that bed and everything looking for it, okay? And then yesterday I put on some boots that she loaned me because of course it took my hiking boot. And so I had to go up to Snowtop or Suntop in Muckalux and had to come down barefoot. So I was hoping I'd get that back. So anyway, when I was getting those boots on and I was leaving the tent, I looked over and there was an obvious lump under the blankets where I'd made up my bed, okay? I lifted it back and there was that boot and dirt all over the place. Did I miss it? I don't think so. The more I thought about it, I stripped that bed. It wasn't there. So that, I haven't had any more activity with my glyph. And then last night, Sam, we were sitting here this morning, and she mentioned the calls, and I heard those when she said I heard several calls, about 5 minutes, seemed like.
Yeah, about 5-10 minutes worth.
Before we went to sleep. So that it's been a wonderful camp. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it to anyone. I've come all the way from Texas, and this is the greatest thing, and I've enjoyed it so much.
Well, you've been a real treasure to have in camp with us. We have enjoyed you as much as you've enjoyed us. So.
Oh, I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jen, anything?
Anything? I heard in our gifting area, I heard a couple of moans, and then I heard a couple of knocks and whistles, and then I heard like something say, "Help me," or "Hey you," or.
Wow.
And then I think yesterday I heard some owls, and then I kind of heard maybe like the tree things.
Well.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of activity.
Wow.
Thank
Cool.
you. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I heard the 800-pound owl.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Clear as bell.
About how many times?
Just once.
Just once?
Just
Okay.
once, and it was like, I want to say middle of the night, maybe 3 or 4.
Okay.
What direction?
It was this way,
Oh,
behind me.
okay.
It was behind me.
Okay.
Kind of out this way, but I was, camped out this way. So, but it was very loud.
Okay. Cool. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Thank you for sharing. Patrick?
Nah, nothing to report.
Nothing? Okay.
Need my
Mitch?
cot and fire.
Mitch?
I went back to my apple that had been gnawed. The consensus seems to be it was a bite mark, and apple had been moved or placed back, however you want to. And I went back this morning to look at it, and I want to thank Barb's rational explanation for me killing my excitement that I had been maybe bitten again, that it had been hollowed out quite a bit. and expanded, and it was probably slugs overnight that had gotten to it.
Yeah.
Because there
Once
were
the
no more
skin was
bite marks. It was
broken.
more kind of hollowed out.
Oh.
So I went from, yeah, I got another, gift and a big bite. And I'm thinking to myself, why in the hell would they bite an apple they've already bitten again? Why not just buy another apple?
Or take another bite, not
So,
just it was hollowed out. That's
I'm
the
so
work of a slug.
grateful to Barbara for her expertise in knowing. I mean, this is her hood in the woods and knowing the animals to kill my Bigfoot buzz.
But
I'm
she
way
gave
too
you a
snarky.
slug
No,
buzz.
but it was,
At least you heard a howl. Howl.
and once it was so cool because once I saw it immediately. Oh yeah, it's slugs. Even though I didn't see any around the apple, obviously it's slugs. Everything was cleaned pretty well, and it was starting to get in there. So
Even the brown section.
even the brown was gone. So it was obviously slugs got into it. So I'm so grateful to you, Barbara, for giving. That's really awesome. And then yesterday, it's not Bigfoot related, but I went on a hike at the Huckleberry Creek Trail into the park. I didn't even know that hike went into the park, into Rainier. It was one of the most beautiful hikes I've been on in the state of Washington, and I've been on a lot of hikes. It's definitely up there as the most beautiful river hike, and it's just gorgeous. So I just want to thank everybody here, all my new friends, and Barbara, and this is the most amazing, beautiful, incredible trip I've ever been in. I'm just so blessed. So thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. So glad you could be here.
Tell them what you ran into.
What did I run into? Oh, yeah, on that hike I ran into, not literally, but a bear. A small cub, maybe 2-3 years old, about 15 feet, just munching on young huckleberries, and
Oh,
wow. Cool.
black bear. Haven't seen a
the
bear.
mama was somewhere.
Well,
Haven't seen it in a
he's
couple
for
years.
2-3 years old. Mom's probably already off with
Really?
new babies. Yeah.
Other
Okay.
than that, there's nobody on the hike. It was like, I highly recommend it. It's not a maintained trail, but it's so beautiful. So
Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Sam?
Well, there were a couple things. I'll start with the evening first because I walked Linda back to her tent, and I noticed one of my stakes was, one of my tie downs was pulled out. And did anybody trip on that? Nobody
No.
was down there?
No.
Well, I looked at it, and I looked at the stake, and it says, that's kind of strange, because the stake was in the ground, but it wasn't in the same place it should have been, because it wouldn't have been tight.
Ah,
So
okay.
somebody tripped on it, and probably pulled the stake out and says, oh, better put it back in. They didn't put it back in the right tension. They just put it back in the ground.
Okay.
So that was the first thing I noticed. And then later in the evening, as Linda was talking about, for about 5-10 minutes, I actually hear it in the distance. The river was kind of drowning a little bit of it out. But I could clearly hear, and now I know what the barred owls sound like, but I could actually hear things that were just single howls, but in some hoots. So that was going on, but it sounded like it was coming from your direction where your tent was, or it could have been straight up the hill.
Back this way.
Straight up the hill that way.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Earlier in the day, however, we went up to the Field of Dreams area with Kevin and Vic and Maynow, and so we were doing the grand tour through there, all the different things that happened to us over the past 2 or 3 years, and so I did take a picture. We were noticing some skunk cabbage that there along the creek, and there was only one that was eaten upon. It like ripped off the plant all around it, but everything else was unaffected. Very strange, and there were no elk tracks or anything leading to it. So I looked up and I noticed one of our the trees that had fallen over, the huge roots are sticking out of the ground and covering it. But I have a sense of the blackness in between the trunks, so I went ahead and so I had a sneaky suspicion. So I took a picture of that, and then of course we later on I found that we had a couple of squatches that pretty clear pictures of their face, and I shared it with the group here. So I'll be
Okay.
posting that on Facebook as well. But it was always a pleasure to have some results from that trip. So I'm stoked about that. I'm a picture person, So
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
uh-huh.
Mitch, I think you have something exciting to share.
Well, we.
Kevin, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I had a big group on the night walk, and that by itself was a lot of fun. But as we came back down the road, we were without headlights. It was cloud cover, so it was bright enough to see the road. We could navigate without. Right above, about 5 to 6 feet above the hood of the Jeep, there was Gabby's red eyes, but it wasn't Gabby. It was just red eyes. The way you see Gabby with your red headlamp on, where it was just bright, not. It was very, very not diffuse. It was very clear red lights, 2 red lights, this far apart, and this far apart. And we were watching it. There's a few of us saw it. I certainly saw it. In fact, I think I did have my headlamp on. I shut it off, and everybody shut it off. Everybody got quiet. Everybody shut down real quick. And I was watching. And then I saw a third light. It's easy to say it's eyeshine, but I'm just telling you, it was 2 lights, 5 to 6 feet above the hood of the Jeep. How far away? 20, 25 yards. And so it went 2 lights, then 3, then 2.
And it was self-illuminating.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
We shut all the lights off, and looking right at us. Pointed right at us, and that lasted 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, then shut off, and that was it. No sound, no smell, no. Little bit of tingle on the back, but that might have been a reaction, not anything else. And that was it.
So that's something I want to ask you about is your reaction to that. When we were here last night and it was kind of sinking in, you had a strong reaction. How were you feeling about that?
Trying to process it.
Yeah.
It was hard trying to process it. What was it? You want to be analytical about it. You just want to know what it was, but I've got no answers.
No. Okay.
So
all right.
that's what it was. Yeah. I was a little unnerved, trying to process it. But
you okay today?
I'm great.
All right. Cool. Awesome.
Not right now.
I just had one more thing that I just remembered when I went in the tent after I found the steak. After I found the steak that was pulled out, after I laid down, and this was before I heard the house and everything. I actually was smelling that sewery type of smell faintly, and I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. It was about 15 seconds of it, and it disappeared. So it may have been something right there, and I didn't know about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sandy?
Did you remember something?
No.
So I have a question. Because I have a question. Because you guys, some of you were still in camp when they were coming back from their hike. Did you hear anything over there before they came down to the corner?
No.
It was quiet
No.
at
You were
that
hearing
point?
you were hearing chatter, remember? Back here?
No, I wasn't. I didn't hear anything back here.
Oh, I thought you did.
She
We had
heard
the
a flute
whistle.
playing earlier in the afternoon during the
Yeah.
in
Oh,
light.
maybe
It's
that's
still
what
light.
it was.
Yeah.
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 Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering. Okay, so the only thing I heard last night was all the rustling and commotion around my tent again. And it was in bed. It woke me up. The tree slapping on the top of the tent again. So then I got up and came out here and joined the few people that were around the fire. We went to bed about 2:15, I think.
About that.
And it continued back there behind my tent.
Yeah.
And it was actually like there were footprints that were in the mud or like water splashing through water. And you could, their foot got sucked into the mud and they were pulling it out and making that sound. That's what I likened it to. And I'm like, really? I have to get up in 2 hours. Let's be going down now. The party is over. I need my sleep. So finally I just fell asleep and that was that.
Did you look for any tracks back there this morning?
No, but I was busy since I've been up, so I'll go back.
Okay. Right on. Well, like Courtney said, we were sitting here and we could hear, it's black over there. It was dark, but we could hear the movement.
Right.
and she's like nudging me, and I'm like, I didn't hear it at first, but I'm nudging her, going, hey, you hear that? You hear that? And then all of a sudden you come out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
we all
actually
heard
got
that.
up and turned on my light and thought, okay, enough already. And then I turned it off and laid down. And I was like, no, this is it. We're done. Get up.
Okay. Okay.
It's unnerving. I have all this activity around my tent every night.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Teresa?
Yeah, I was on the night. Well, first off, I'll just say that I had a great weekend, and I think a lot of amazing things have happened, and I got to know this beautiful Greenwater area better, even though I've grown up in this area. A lot of these places I hadn't been before. But I'm still trying to process what happened to me last night on this night hike. As the further along we went up that hill and kept walking, I started just getting this sense of dread and not liking it and feeling really nervous and anxious, and it was getting worse and worse. When finally someone said, hey, let's turn around, I'm like all over that. Yeah, let's turn around. And I just felt that for a while, but we came around that last corner on this road over here, and there's a road cut. So to the right, there's a rock face or slope. And I looked up at the slope, and I saw these little bright, blinky, whitish, greenish lights just kind of bouncing around out there. And I was like, oh, it was like it gave me this moment of joy, and that apprehension feeling just sort of went away. I don't know. I've never seen anything like that before, but they were very beautiful little lights.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Well, I had that. Remember that the other day I was coming up that hill back there, and I know what you're talking about, that sense of dread, and I don't know where it came from, but it was just very, very intense. And I was running up that hill, and it subsided when I got here. I don't know what it
Actually,
was.
Kevin, do you remember it was about that where we turned around last night? Remember our first walk?
Mm-hmm. You saw the same thing at the same place.
Well, it was at that place that I remember. I said we stopped, and I said I feel like we're being watched. It doesn't feel. It didn't feel very good right there.
Okay.
Right? It was like another 10 yards up about before you make the big bend.
Yeah.
That whole, it's very thick forest right there,
Right.
very
and a sheer
flat,
wall right to the. On
and
the
it didn't
side.
feel very good either.
Yeah.
I remember that. So.
Okay. All right. Vic?
I don't have nothing to report.
Nothing?
No, I haven't
Okay.
seen nothing, heard anything.
Wow, I'm sorry.
Yeah, strange.
Reno?
Well, we had our alarm set for 2:45 this morning. Alarm set for 2:45 this morning, and got up and looked out here, and nobody was sitting around. It was all quiet, and it was raining. Nah, let's go back to bed. So it was probably around 3 o'clock. I did hear like a howl of some sort, but I was thinking, well, maybe it's just him with his wheezing. But then, since you mentioned that, you heard that at about that time, then that just reinforces what I heard. Yeah. And then also, I don't know if you noticed, I had 2 little kissing stuffed animals on the stump over here. And so this morning they weren't there. They were down on the ground. So how they got there, I don't know.
Okay. They were checked out. Okay.
Mention the what we smelled on Field of Dreams.
All right,
that
yeah, when we were walking there with Sam through the Field of Dreams, that at a certain spot we got a smell of I don't know
Spice.
how like a spice or a herb smell, just in one little like within a
I kind
2
of smelled
foot
a little bit.
path, and then it went away. It was there for probably about 30 seconds, a minute maybe,
Okay.
and then gone.
Cool.
Sam, wasn't
Okay.
that where you got the picture?
I think it was just a little past that. We walked past that and I took it towards Skunk Cabbage was.
Right.
Just across that little creek that across the trail.
Yeah, it was probably about 20 or 30 feet beyond the skunk cabbage where we smelled it.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
it was still in that little area.
Yeah, it was still in that little area. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Tina?
Well, I will have to say publicly, BRFO, you need to take some lessons on expeditions from Barb and Gabby. You guys are way too uptight. Settle down, chill. Anyway, I had a wonderful time. This was a great experience.
And a lot cheaper.
Yeah, and the food was 10 times better. But Yeah, I have to go home and just kind of process this whole 4 days. It's been just kind of mind blowing for me. Last night I kept hearing car doors slam all night long, like real close to me. Like, you know, you get that kind of that air pressurization. Boom. I kept hearing that. I probably heard it 8 to 10 times, and I know people weren't over there opening and closing their car doors, so I don't know what that was all about. But you know, sound carries a long way, so it could even have been people closing their doors across the river. I'm not really sure. I got to process that a little bit more. I will say I felt good though. I've been playing my flute over there quite a bit and practicing because I want to get really good at it. And she did hear when she went over there to do a little filming. She did think she heard a flute. So finally, you guys are acknowledging that I was playing that for you. I was happy that finally I got some kind of sign.
Yeah.
But we did hear a little bit of flute playing the day before. We've already gone through that. But last night I key on her all the time. We're very close in age, and we've been together literally since birth. You know, we're sisters, 2 years apart, and we key on each other. And I knew right away she was not liking it. She was getting the dread sense because like I said, I keyed on her. And we got up to where we were going to turn around, and everybody was, hey, maybe we should turn around. I'm like, yeah. Just like everybody else. I didn't want to be up there. I didn't like it. I wanted to get down. Then as we're coming down, I saw 2 red lights just kind of like follow the contour of the ground, kind of go over the side of the hill, and then I heard some rustling. I don't think it was eyeshine because nobody had their lights on. It was kind of like almost like 2 little round red things coming down. They weren't lined up like eyes. I don't know.
Maybe orbs.
Yeah, but see, I've never experienced this orb thing, so this is something I really need to just process in my own mind. Coming down, we're seeing these little bouncing white little flickering lights up above, and weird, you know. And they'd only be on a duration of maybe 1/10 of a second to a second, and then a couple times I'd see them in my peripherals, and then I would look, and I might get just a little flash, and then they were gone, you know. And then we come down around the corner, and there's 2 big red things about 5 or 6 feet above his Jeep, and it wasn't like a flash, like a red headlight. It was kind of a weird, I can't really describe, almost like a bioluminescence color. And it was on, and then it just kind of like faded out. I can't describe it, and it was way above the Jeep. We were thinking it might have been the taillight reflection, but it was up high. That's something else I really need to just sit down and process and figure out, you know, how I'm gonna store that in my memory. But that's what I got.
All right, cool.
Oh, can I mention one thing too? When I saw the bear, I was in the passenger seat. Well, there was like, you know how you see black and then well, that's what I saw. I saw this just jet black behind this root ball, and the car came, and I had my window down, and I go, Terry, stop! Of course, I'm thinking Squatch. But the bear went just like that. I've never seen a bear hide from a human like that before. Usually they'll just turn and whoop, they're gone. But this thing literally just hunched down like, okay, if I hide behind this root ball, I'm all good, you know? Well, of course, I made her stop, and I started running up there. And I never did see it come out from that root ball, but it was really brushy, a lot of down timber. But I did hear it go around this corner and then straight up right toward Patrick's Jeep.
And so you actually saw it then?
Then I saw it
So
then.
then you knew it was a bear?
But man, I thought Squatch.
You're
Man.
all sensing on that black spots now. Ever since I started talking about that.
I got all excited. Oh, stop! No sense of dread. It was elation, you know.
Well,
Thanks for sending it our way. I appreciate it.
well,
I was gonna go that way.
you came back and I asked if anything and the only thing you had exciting to share was that you had seen some bear tracks. So-
My hands, I measured.
Okay, Mike?
I was brushing my teeth with my electric toothbrush, and I set it off, and I heard a loud whistle flute sound.
Okay.
Cool.
There you
Okay.
go, girl.
Maybe the electric toothbrush was something they thought was a sound.
Something to mimic. When we were here last
Or
year, didn't
not
they
to mimic.
they mimicked Yvonne's electric toothbrush? So that's a second time for that one.
Oh, great. Now we're all going to get our electric toothbrush.
Sonic hair.
around the campfire. Maybe they think it's infrasound.
Oh, maybe.
Another
It
one,
vibrates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good deal.
Anything else?
And maybe some footsteps. Not really sure.
Okay. Okay. Thank
Great
you.
weekend.
All right. Glad you could make it.
Yeah.
Claire? No. So, David?
Yeah. So when we went up on the night walk last night, I actually threw out. I hyperextended my knee a couple weeks ago, and I wasn't too sure I wanted to go up the hill, but I went there. Well, it didn't bother me at all until we got to the place where we decided. I was actually the one who said I think we should go back, because then all of a sudden my knee was really hurting, and it hadn't been hurting at all the way up. And I also got the sense it was the only place up there where I felt like I felt comfortable all the way up until that point.
Wow.
And I felt this sense. I thought I think we should go back now.
Okay.
And so we headed back down. So on the way down, I didn't see the lights up on the side of the hill, the rock face that they had seen. But Courtney and I saw, and then Courtney saw right afterward, big white lights. I think they were eyes. They were up off the road and probably about this far apart from each other. Two big white, I think they were eyes. I don't think they were orbs, because they were fixed in parallel. And what was kind of cool is that I saw it for about a second. I think she saw it for like a half a second. She caught it a little after I did. And it was misty up there, and it was foggy up there. And the eyes were illuminated, and I could see like water, like the water droplets in the fog right in front of the eyes. So there was a little bit like a little fog around the eyes, and then it was on and just boop, went off.
Wow.
And before that, as we first started down, I have like horrible night vision, even when, I know people say, no one can see. I really can't see, and these things are worthless, and I need like goggles put in my head or something. Anyway, I had my red light on, and ahead of us on the trail, I saw it looked like two red eyes, but it was kind of neat because it was like almost like like you see the photographs when they have a light and they stream it and the stream stays behind. Well, I saw these red lights going across the road, and there was like a gold stream behind them, going and all across just really quickly, whoosh, and then off the embankment.
Wow.
And it just was very, very brief. So I saw that before the two white eyes. I didn't, unfortunately, I was further down here at the bottom of the hill when they saw the red eyes over the Jeep, so I never saw that.
So I saw those too. I forgot to mention that report. David and I were talking when that happened, and Courtney was right over my shoulder, was right behind me, and I saw that with you. I saw that of the red. They were like exactly how I said it, like red streaks.
Like streaks.
Like they were like digital blurs in a video.
Yeah, but it wasn't on the ground.
They stayed. They were high.
They were high.
They stayed stationary and then just moved quick.
Like they were still staring, and they were jumping, but still staring at you, so that the eyes were going like this when they were.
And it was right up here as we rounded that bend on the last home stretch down.
Yeah.
And I want to add too is that I was talking to Patrick most of the way up on the walk last night, but I did feel a sense of unease where we all stopped. Yeah. And again, the 2 nights before, that same area, I felt unease all the way up until we rounded the bend, going up, and then this following walk. And that's just something about that area. Up there.
So I got this sense that we were really, at that point, it really felt like we were being watched, and very closely. And I just felt like, I think this is probably a good place to stop and go back.
Okay.
I don't know. And, the only other thing that happened is that after we came back down and they saw the eyes over here, it was like, okay, well, I shouldn't have said this, but I did. I said, well, those eyes are sort of where Kevin is camped. And I thought, oh, that was dumb. I probably just scared him now. And so he was like a little apprehensive. And so we went back. So he and I and Patrick and Mitch and Claire went back along the trail and just said, hey, we're here. We're just enjoying nature. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to fear.
And I thank you guys for doing that. I did sleep a little bit better because we.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Did you notice nobody argued with you and you said, my knee hurts, I really want to turn around? We're like, okay, let's go. No arguments.
Yeah, I was like, well, if they want to go back, then I'll go down by myself.
No,
I felt comfortable doing that. But a couple of people was like, no, we need to stay together as a group. So we went in the back there, and we stood in the back and went near his gifting area and had lights out and just stood for a while and quiet. You can hear movement in the brush, but one of the problems I have with that is that, like, on the way up here, back over here, I pass elk. And I know there's elk around here. Mm-hmm. So you have to really be careful about hearing movement in the brush because they're not going to announce themselves either. Mm-hmm. So there was that aspect. But we did hit a point where she had a sensation, he had a sensation, and I had a sensation that we were being watched and there was something nearby.
And we were in the pitch black.
And we were pitch black.
You couldn't see anything.
You couldn't see anything. It was really dark. over there at night.
It went from feeling nothing to all of a sudden we all
Felt something.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the only other thing that happened is I had left a jar of blueberries by the place where we found the bed the last time, and I went back yesterday to check it, and the blueberries were still there in the jar, untouched, but there was a little, like an air freshener sitting next to the jar. So those things they put in packages to keep the food fresh.
Yeah.
That was sitting next to the jar. I have no idea where it came from. It was Mitch and my housemate, or my friend, came with me, and there wasn't anything there when I put the jar down. That was sitting next to the jar, and I had come in May. I had left a bag of blueberries, and the bag was right underneath the log, right where the jar was, and we didn't see
Wow.
it when it was there. I couldn't find it anywhere.
Wow.
So they brought me stuff. So they said, "Here, take out our trash." So I
Okay.
took out the trash.
Kelly?
All right. Last night when we were sitting here, it was pretty late, so we kept hearing whistling over here.
Yeah,
for
I
probably
heard
about
that too.
10 minutes. And it wasn't like the same whistle that you would get from like a bird that does the exact same whistle. It was all kinds of whistle. It was just like, different pitches, different tunes, little short ones though. So we heard that for, probably like 10, 15 minutes. After that, I went to bed, and last time we were here last month, I had that experience with the tingling, like almost like the vibrating, massaging feet, leg thing. It's kind of weird and out there, but I'm telling you my experience. And we were sitting in the car last night, or I was, and then Claire was laying in the back seat. And all of a sudden, it's just like I started to feel that again. It started with my feet, moved up to my calves and my knees and my hands, and they started feeling really warm, and it was a good feeling. And I just said, Claire, and as soon as I started to say that to her, that it was, then she goes, I'm getting that really weird pressure in my head that I get when I feel like something's around us. And I'm like, I was just going to tell you this tingling thing happened. And it lasted, I can't tell you how long, because I had been like wide awake one minute, and the next minute I was out.
Wow.
I just fell asleep, and then
Do you think the whistling noises you heard were they trying to mimic my flute, you think?
I
I'm
don't know,
hoping.
because it was like every time the whistles that I heard, it was always like a two doo doo, but it was always different sounds. Like, how like the birds, you get the same sound every time. This wasn't. This was different whistles. So
And it was well after dark,
Oh, way after dark. That's why I was
Yeah.
like, what birds are doing?
It went
this
on.
kind of
I
thing?
heard it for off and on for about 10 minutes while we were sitting here,
Yeah.
and
So that was really cool.
it was not bird-like whistles at all.
No. The only other character that was really cool that I met this weekend was Linda.
Oh.
She's quite the character.
Thank you.
So I don't know. I think we should make her our mascot, but
This is the best experience of my life. This was on my bucket list. I'm 69, and number one was getting to see or experience Sasquatch. So I have cried so many times here. I can't even believe it. These ladies are movie stars to me. And, walking in here, I was just like, oh my God, I'm here.
Oh, we hope it's not the first time you come back again.
Oh, I want to
Yeah.
come back
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
but when I get to, I don't know, living on the government is kind of rough, but, I have had the most wonderful experience, and I will never forget it if I never get to do it again, and, they are real, and I always knew they were real, but, when they started messing with me, that what happened to me. If y'all have seen that was just, there's no way. When I saw that thing lying on her door, I just oh my God, it was wild. So they
Yeah.
really have had a good time with me, and I've enjoyed it.
Well, I think they probably enjoyed you quite a bit
Well,
too. Okay, Debbie.
Well, Lee and I and Jenny went up to our gifting area yesterday, and we had left cinnamon rolls, peanut butter and jelly, trail mix in a jar, and the cinnamon rolls were gone, The container were licked clean. The was the jelly gone?
Yeah.
Jelly was gone. And peanut butter had been untouched. There was the little jar of trail mix in the bucket was still there, but the trail mix in the little jar on the log was totally gone. The jar is gone. So we'll have to, and we looked everywhere for it. But yeah, that was it.
Was the jelly in a jar?
Yeah.
And the jar, so the jar was there. Was it lid on the jar?
No.
Okay.
It was off.
It was off. Okay.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, you know, I had gone back here yesterday, back down the trail behind that motorhome over there, and took the dogs back there, and I just sat for a little bit, and I could have swore I heard you playing flute music. And I came back here, and you guys weren't even here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
taking that they liked it.
yeah. So I also heard, you know, all the commotion over here around Sandy's tent, and then last night when we finally went to bed, I think the last 4 or 5 of us that were here, it was about 2:15, and my car is parked right over here, and I was going to drive, you know, back to where my tent is, and I got over there and I started hearing some howls from up here on the hill. Well, I got back to where my tent is, and all this rain, you know, the river's up really high, so once I got back there I couldn't hear very clearly if they were continuing or not. But as I got out of my car, I very distinctly heard your voice.
And I was sleeping.
Way over this way.
Way over there.
Yeah, but once again, you know, the first night I was here, I heard you scream.
Right.
But it wasn't you.
No.
But yeah, so I heard your voice, just, I couldn't make out the words. It was just kind of a mumbling, making a statement about something.
Right.
And also, there's been a few times during the week I've gone back there, and as I get close to that campsite, I've heard what sounded like boys talking, a short clip conversation with it. You know, once again, can't make out any words, but just the voices of boys. And then just an hour ago, I walked back that way, and I heard a whoop back over here. So I thought that was pretty cool. Anybody, anything else?
No, we just have to say that you're officially one of those flute players.
Yeah,
yeah. Proud of it.
That's
because
right.
you're right there with
That's
me.
right. Good job. Okay, Courtney, you said you had something else?
Well, yeah, when we were sitting over here, I kept getting that fragrant smell. It smelled like the best woman's perfume.
Yeah,
we were
that's
talking
right.
about.
And I was sitting right next to you, and I
Yeah.
couldn't smell anything.
But then during Tom's presentation, Gabby got up and
Oh, that's right.
was barking and seeing something that we weren't seeing, and then there was whistles like crazy through the whole presentation.
Yeah. Kevin, you were actually sitting in the front row during that, and you saw what Gabby was doing. The rest of us couldn't really see her as well. Can you describe what Gabby did?
She was just very alert, barking, and she was on either side of the screen, looking over, you know, in that
Down in that area.
low area, just past the kitchen, and she would look this way and then run past the screen. She wasn't looking at the screen, and then looking down, and something.
Yeah.
I don't know. She caught wind of something. I don't know what.
See,
it was.
from where I was sitting, I couldn't tell. I thought maybe, you know, she could see Tom on the screen, and I thought maybe it was him that she was barking
No, it
at.
was
But
very distinct. Each side of the screen. She was not
There
even
was-
just Tom. She was looking in that.
Yeah,
in
I
that,
caught that.
in that
We
low
caught
spot.
that, and then Linda caught that. I think a lot of us just noticed.
Yeah, 'cause I
we've
said,
never seen
"What's
Gabby bark like that the
Yeah,
whole
she
time.
acted alarmed. And how does she act when elk are close? How does she act?
she gets giddy. She gets all wiggly, and it's like, oh, the elk are here, and you know, because if she was allowed to, she would run them off, but she's not allowed to.
This
So.
was an alarm. Like,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
You realize that when you shoot on the white screen like that, you can also see the image from the backside,
Yeah.
and they were probably watching that.
Yeah, I highly suspect they heard Tom's voice and came in to see what he had to share with us. Because, you know, since Tom couldn't be here with us, he made a little video to share with our campers. And so we had that for our movie night. And we're very grateful to Tom. It was wonderful. And we missed not having him here very much. And that was just a wonderful way to include him in the camp out.
Thank
So.
you, Tom.
Yes,
Thank you,
it was a great
Tom.
video.
Next tell Barb what you heard, Max?
Just now, I don't know what it was, but I thought I heard something banging on some sort of jar that was empty just now.
You just heard that?
Whispered that to me.
Oh, well, that's cool. Which direction was it?
I think I heard it off maybe over near the kitchen, but...
Oh, by the kitchen?
Yeah, but there's no one over there, so I don't know what
Okay,
happened.
all right.
It's in the bathroom, so that could be empty.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing.
Watching,
Yeah.
right?
Someday Max is going to take over these campouts and run them for us, aren't you? Okay. Well, anybody else? Anything? No? Well, I guess this wraps up our final meeting of our Barb and Gabby Campout 2017 June Greenwater. It's been awesome. Thank you all so much. It's just been a wonderful week, and I have you all to thank for this. So,
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.